year was 1929. Prohibition was in full swing, but the country was experiencing an economic boom. Buffalo, New York was one of the largest cities in the nation, and finally, after decades of debate, they had built a passenger rail station to reflect that strength and power. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Retro Report. My name is Eddie Dobashevitz. Tonight, we're going to tell a story of Buffalo's Central Terminal, its past, its present, and its future. But in order to tell our tale properly, we have to start before our story even begins.
I've got a mule, her name is Sam, 15 miles on the Erie Canal. She's good old.
The opening of the Erie Canal in 1821 linked the West with the East. Buffalo was the transfer point, and as a result, it became a very wealthy city. But it was the railroads that made the Queen City a powerhouse. So why in the world wasn't the Central Terminal built downtown?
I thought downtown was growing because the infrastructure of the city was built for 1 million people. They thought downtown would grow 2.5 miles east. And so when the Great Depression hit, the war, the 50s, and moving out of the city, no one could foresee that.
Year by year, decade by decade, people just started to get away from using that big train station on the east side of Buffalo.
Now cars and planes were the preferred modes of transportation. Train travel became a fond but distant memory.
My husband had to go on a business trip. It was late 50s, and he asked me if I wanted to go, and I said yes, but I'm afraid to ride the plane. I didn't want to. So he said, well, we'll take the train, and we did. It took a little longer, but that was our trip to New York, and I loved it. And that was probably the last time. After that, my husband convinced me that if we wanted a trip if he was going to go for business, we should start taking the plane.
But the story goes from bad to worse. When we return, we'll tell you how the Central Terminal was raped and pillaged before a few people fought to save it. Too little, too late? We shall see when Retro Report continues.